Hello, Mr. Vetr. It's good to see you. How are you?
Hi, Perchin. It's good to see you. I'm wonderful. And how about you? I see you are in New York.
Yes. No,
What
right now
area?
I'm in Atlantic City in New Jersey,
Mm,
and
ah,
you are in Vienna right now, right?
a bit outside of Vienna. That's called Wienerwald. It's the
Okay.
forest of around Wienerwald. Sorry, around Vienna.
Okay. Is it still the same house that I've been to in 2020?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the one.
So when I come, I don't have a room anymore because no, Jem has another room. So okay, I can still stay.
We'll always have a room for you.
Thank you very much. Well, thanks for coming to this chat, which we're going to speak about leadership in the new world, and discuss about these topics. But since a lot of people who don't know yet will also watch this video, I thought it would be a good idea to start by you talking a bit about yourself. Who is Mr.
Okay.
Andreas Vetr and what does he do?
Good question. Thank you. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Austria. I was for 28 years in Austria. Then I moved to Turkey, where apparently we met. I moved to Turkey for only 2 years with a company to help SMEs, so small and mid-sized enterprises, to get different and make some transformation. I did this for 2 years, and within these 2 years, I met my wife, which is Turkish, and so they became 23 years. Can you imagine? Uh, so I
Impressive.
stayed I stayed 23 years in Turkey. We still have some apartment in Turkey and go back and forward. I love Turkey. And now 5 years ago, we moved back to Austria. And now we stay here in Austria. And like I said, we move back and forward as pandemic allows us.
Has it been 5 years? It feels like less that you moved.
It's 2017, we moved back to Vienna,
Oh,
close
it's
to
good.
Vienna.
And do you plan to stay there for the rest of your life?
No, I really want to have three places in my life. I look a
Exactly.
little bit
My
like
plan is
you.
the same. Yeah. Are you stealing my life plans?
Yeah, we have the same ideas. So that's why we find each other again and again wherever we are in this world.
Yes, exactly. Our frequencies sync. And which three places are those? Where do you want to have your places?
Actually, the third one I don't know yet. I'm looking and getting your ideas about Panama and such areas. Two places are for sure. One is Austria, one is Turkey, and the third one, let's see. So I want to move always to the best climate. And
Well, yeah. Okay, I understand. My plan is similar. I want to do, well, Mexico in this part of the world, Portugal in Europe,
Mhm.
and Japan. I want to do Japan
Oh, okay,
and escape wherever there is good weather.
exactly.
I like that plan as well. I like that dream as well.
Right.
And I know that's one of your main topics, and you also give a lot of conferences and seminars on that, and you work with very high quality professionals, also like John Maxwell, is leadership. And but leadership is a very general term, especially leadership in the new world is a very general term. So I want to ask you your opinion on this. What does leadership in the new world mean to you, Andreas?
What does leadership in the new world mean to me? You see, I worked in corporations, as you know, in large Fortune 500 companies, and I had responsibility over up to 2,100 people. And when we speak about leadership, I see that I run also a couple of companies. So one of them is a search and selection or executive search company, as it's called headhunting companies in some ideas of people. And I talk to over 7,500 people in interviews, in professional interviews. And what I see that most of the managers, so-called managers, or people in leadership position, are for the wrong reasons. They want to go there for the wrong reasons. And therefore, I would say, what do they go for? They go for perks most of the time. They want to have a position, they want to have power, they want to have influence. Yes, but for the wrong reason, because for the money, for the best car park places and such things. So I believe they are the wrong reasons. The right reasons would be I want to support people. So the people believe when they go up, they have more freedom. And it's actually opposite around, because when nobody cares what you do, because you are nobody yet, when you are in the bottom of the leadership position, you have actually a lot of freedom. When you come up, when you climb up the ladder in position and power, of course, and you will get all the perks, but you shouldn't go there for the perks, because the responsibility goes up as well. And you don't have the freedom to do whatever you want. So what I would encourage in modern leadership or new leadership is not looking to what you get, but what you will give to the people who you lead. So equipping your people, helping them to reach their potential is actually the leaders' responsibility. And therefore, you cannot do whatever you think. You are not free anymore as you are on the bottom, because everybody looks at you, and you have to do it right first.
I've experienced in life that when you have the mentality, when you internalize, when you do something that you focus in the very beginning, how would it contribute to other people? Then you get much more. But there's a difference between doing this only for someone else, because that's also a bit selfish if you don't take care of yourself. But while you're taking care of yourself, but in your mind that you're serving something bigger than just yourself, money, position, parking spaces, etc., then also the flow, the energy, the motivation is better, and that turns you into a true leader, because people feel the sincerity, people feel the intention behind this. And there's a very nice sentence that you used in your article, which I want to share here. It says leaders must develop others to reach their own potential, which basically rolls back to what you just said.
Yeah. If you are a one generation leader, so you are the king of the hill, and that's and nobody is really duplicating, multiplying. So when you are gone, the whole thing is gone. And one nice part is I started a company in 2010 about search and selection, finding the right people for companies. And I left that company approximately 4 or 5 years ago. And it's still better than when I was there. It's still developing. Of course, we had the pandemic and everything, but it didn't disappear in that time, although it went to zero for some months. But this company is still alive. So I started something, I brought leaders up, and they can self-sufficient run the company even better than when I was there. And not that I would want to look good here, but it was not depending on me anymore.
Yeah. And that's important, that you build systems that doesn't depend on you anymore, because even if the leader is good, if the systems are not there, once the leader leaves, things start going down. Mm-hmm. And in the long run, it doesn't work for the company or for the institution.
That's right.
And I also know that you have a good list of some suggestions, some bullet points on how do effective leaders empower their people. So as an effective leader yourself, or the effective leaders that you see around you, what are your main suggestions or points on how do effective leaders empower their people?
Empowerment is a big word, and we use it a lot nowadays, but I guess people do not know what empowerment really means in a daily
We can position. Also talk a bit about that in the beginning. What does empowerment mean for you?
Well, empowerment is to let people also fail. So give them a position, give them the tools that they can do this position, and equip them, give them tools, give them a position, give them a friend, give them a suggestion, give them mentoring or coaching, whatever you want to call it. Be humble yourself, give them the power. And like a little bit, I don't know if you know this eagle story. There was a wonderful eagle film once, such a cartoon film, and you see a mom in the nest, and there's the small baby eagle, and mom shows the big wing, and it's time to fly. And the small eagle looks to their small wings and get power, because mom said, I can do it. So that's empowering. You can do it. I believe in you. And he goes very proud in front, and then looks down. Ooh, that's very high. And he looks to mom, and mom says, yeah, you can do it. So he tries and he jumps off, he lifts off, and he he starts a little bit rolling instead of, and goes down. And mom is a little bit scared and he couldn't do it. And mom goes down and picks him up and brings him back to the nest and encourages him again. And finally, the small eagle can fly. And this is a wonderful, wonderful example and cartoon. I don't know if we can find it on the internet somewhere. It's a wonderful cartoon, what's empowering. Give the tools, show them how to do it, let them do it, let them fail, pick them up when they fail, not as egotistically, but showing them, look, no problem. I failed in the beginning too. I'm not the all made in once. And so then try to help them again, and then they can do it, and then they can fly, and they will teach the next generation. So it's a multi-generational thing. We are here for a certain period of time, and we should give everything what we gained, and so that the next generation can even go easier.
And this also, not only the things you say, they're not only valid in companies, they're also valid in households. We see children growing up in a much more healthier environment when they're allowed to fail, when they're not criticized for every mistake, when they're not trying to be turned into perfect machines, which they can never be because we're human beings after all, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Wonderful.
How do you experience that as a father?
Yeah, I'm a father myself. I have 18 years old, and it was funny because I recently had here in Austria a larger corporation where I had a transformation process to modern leadership. And once my son came, when he was 17 to the company, and then all of them had big eyes because they said, now we see somebody who lived all his life this modern leadership. So how does he act? How does he react? How does he move? And they were very interested in him. Absolutely.
And in your list of bullet points on how effective leaders empower their people, I'm also looking at this right now. There are 7 strong points, which some of them you already mentioned, but one is by making a personal call. Seek them personally, call them by name. So basically making them feel like that you care about them and be sincere about this, right?
Yeah. Thank you for coming to the 7 points. Before the 7 points, you search, you look for the right people who you want to call into your inner circle. Yeah. And you should always choose these people by yourself. If you're a leader, you cannot hand this over to an HR department and say, you choose the right person and I will deal with them. You choose your inner circle. And sometimes in corporations, of course, you have a ready team and you have to test them. You have to check, are these the people we can go along and we can help this company, this organization to where they want to go. Once you have chosen your team, then you call them. Then you, as you said, you sit, you call them by name and say, Perchin, we have a very important decision to make. Will we go this way together? And give them, call them for where they should go. Give them a very clear goal or a very clear, it doesn't have to be a numerical goal like huge corporations do all the time. You have to reach this. No. It is something I call you that we go together in this direction. Doesn't have to be a number.
And instead of just pointing them where to go, you go together, basically.
Yeah. We make this decision together, and we have to make test after test, of course, and we grow together. And in the beginning, that may be a bit tight. And when you know each other, it's more loosened because you know how they would react and so on. What was the second point in my 7?
Before the second point, I also want to say a lot of all of the successful companies, they also hire very qualified people and they don't direct them that much. They just give them the key KPIs, key points of action, and the goals, what to do and all, and they do it themselves. They don't need to micromanage them, especially these qualified people. They perform worse if they're micromanaged because they don't have enough space to do their thing. So when you give them their space, just with the goals that are needed to be given to them, they outperform anyway. So hiring the correct people, working with the correct people is the key if you want to be a good leader.
Yeah, wonderful how you summarized it. And then you directly and clearly instruct what you expect from them to do. So sending them to action is important. Not only instructing and training them forever. Sometimes you have to let the leaders go and make experience with what they learned so far.
And that was the second point, by direct and clear instructions and sending them to action.
Yeah. And then not blame when something is wrong, evaluating, but not, this is such a, you know, on the mountaintop, when you go on this crater, you can fall very easy left or right. So it's not a very easy way to walk this talk, because there are people, there are emotions, and they will fail, like the small eagle. So when you pick them up, how you pick them up, how we pick them up, that will be an individual call. I believe everybody reacts a little different. And when we give feedback, I see so many people, they give feedback by, this has to go like this, this, and that. Not everybody is ready for feedback. They will be broke after, some of them. So you have to really sense, when can I give what feedback? How do I have to give?
What kind of feedback? Yeah, exactly.
What kind of feedback and so on. So how do I pick up the person? Is a personal issue, is a person issue.
And the third point is by declaring a central goal.
Yeah. So when we look to some leaders, and I'm maybe one of them, we move our goal all the time. We have visions, we have ideas, we have great ideas, and we in our head we are 5 steps ahead, and then we put them out to the wrong people, and then they don't know what to follow anymore. It looks like you move the target all the time somewhere else, and then they can't follow you anymore, so they will give up. And some people have to learn how to wait, and that is terrible for a leader. Waiting is terrible, but you have to wait for your people, that they can pick up your idea, follow it, do something with it, fall, get up again, try it again in a different way, and you are already 5 steps ahead. So we have not enough patience sometimes, we leaders, and that may be also an issue with leadership. So we have to give clear instruction, let them time for action, although we have already new ideas.
And the fourth one is basically a follow-up to the third one, declaring a central goal by clear and ambiguous statements, a clear objective, so people know when they succeed. And there's a nice story. I don't know if it's an urban legend, but I'm sure something like this also have happened. But I heard that in a big corporation, I think it was Mercedes, an important executive made a mistake which costed the company around €1 million. And the executive was sure that he was going to get fired. So when he went to the office of the CEO to get some telling off, he said, okay, I accept, I know I'm fired. And the CEO said, what fired? You just learned a €1 million lesson. And that's an amazing
I just invested $1 million in you. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. I love that perspective. And imagine the motivation of that executive now, that the trust that he feels and the security, the safety.
Yeah, they're absolutely right. So that's an executive and not an executive, I guess, because I made this mistake also. I called this executive search. we look for executive. No, we look for executives. Yeah, we will make mistake. It will cost money, and if I let somebody make such a huge mistake which costs $1 million, then I better use it afterwards. Yeah,
it's a good lesson. It's a good investment.
It's a very good investment. It's a very good leader who sees it that way. Yeah.
And the fifth statement is through practical advice. Do this through practical advice and give them tools to gain credibility. By tools, what do you mean here, Andreas? What kind of tools?
That can be a position, for instance. Sometimes you give a person a position. Of course, the position doesn't make the leader. The leader makes the position. But in some very hierarchical companies, like in my last assignment, that was a very hierarchical company, although they didn't look like on the outside, but inside, the people were thinking that way. The management, not anymore, but the people were still hierarchical. So sometimes you need to give somebody a tool, which may be a position. Give them power so that they can perform, that they can show leadership, but the leader makes the position in the end of the day. So if the leader is not strong enough for the position, then the position doesn't help. If the person is good, has knowledge, has skills, and can also transform it, and long enough so that the person can show themselves, then the people will follow sooner or later or will disappear. So that maybe a tool can be a friend, a tool can be a book, a tool can be a seminar or such a 1 million lesson. That can be a tool, and let them perform with this.
And what about the role of the technology in today's world? Because as leaders or for leaders, being able to use technology effectively, regardless on what field you are, is very important. And what do you think about that? Using software, using a system?
I'm aware that, especially in the hiring arena, we now check people. In the old time, everybody had an assistant, or they called it secretary, and they the flight booking and organize the meetings. Now everybody should be able to do this by themselves. So you do a Zoom meeting, a team meeting, you should be aware of all those tools. And 5 years ago, we were discussing about this for high-level management. Today, everybody is clear that needs to be there. So a manager on every level has to be able to use, a must. How to book your own flight, how to book a hotel, and how to use these tools, what you use in the companies. In smaller companies, all this from Slack to Zoom and so on. In the bigger ones, you have Teams and all these tools, the sharing tools. You don't have one Word document which you send over. You all work on the same document at the same time sometimes. So these are basics nowadays.
You cannot give those to your assistants anymore all the time.
No, not anymore.
And they're not rocket science, yeah.
Right. Not anymore. They were 5 years ago. That was a very different issue.
Yeah, after pandemic, especially, it's really helped. COVID helped. And the sixth one is through self-confidence and trust in advance. Give them a plan and empower them through trust.
Yeah. Trust is, as we heard before, hopefully, is the glue which holds an organization together. Who is trusting whom is the question. Do the people trust the leader, or do the leader trust the people? Yeah, it is a two-way street, right? And there we have personalities. I guess there's a personality trait question as well. There are people and managers of the old world, they are controlling. They are in the controlling world all the time. They don't trust. They do trust, but in a different way. They need feedback, what you have done. But people sometimes, they say they don't trust me because they ask me all the time if I did it correct. They breathe over my neck. So, but they don't mean it like that, these leaders, but they act like that, like controlling all the time. So that should be open discussed. Look, I am such and such a person. I need the feedback to feel well, to go the next steps. And then I don't want to call it subordinate, but if somebody you report to, if you are faster than they can ask, then they feel well, right? So this is a way around this. But do I trust my people when I constantly ask, did you do this? Is this ready? Is this done? Then you lose your freedom or your liberty to develop ideas, because you just try to serve those controlling leaders. They may not mean it that way, but it sounds like you're really breathing down the neck. So the leaders should learn how to let go and establish a way to say, on this and this dates, I need a feedback. And if the subordinate then gives the right feedback on the right time or earlier, then they would never feel the need of controlling. So it's a two-way street. We need to release the leaders by giving the right feedback at the right time. And the leaders need to trust them enough that they do, and they are not lazy or fooling around, that they will come when they need, when they are not afraid of coming and asking a question, then you know you have trust. But if you beat them up when they come, you do this one time. I told you already 3 times, if this is your answer as a leader, you lost the person. They will say, okay, sorry, I tried once, I tried 2 times. They will never come a 3rd time if you say, I told you already. Yeah, you told me in a different environment, I didn't understand it yet in this way, right? So the leaders, they have to be sensitive how some people you can be direct. This is, you need people knowledge, their temperaments, I would call. Everybody has a different temperament. One you can say with a smiling face, you are an idiot. Yeah? If you tell this the other person, will never talk to you again. Yeah?
I'm sorry, my friends are passing by, so I wanted to say hello.
Say hi.
Yeah, I agree on that as well. Especially the word trust is very important on that. Once people trust each other, also like trust in the ability of making mistakes with each other, and people will be comfortable. And one of the main problems derive from the fact that if, as you said, if the other person doesn't feel comfortable by asking them questions anymore, then they will stop asking questions, even if they don't figure out one thing. And then they're going to make more mistakes, which could have been resolved by asking a simple question. But yeah, if you give an answer like, I told you this before, then people would be scared or not comfortable to come to you. So it is very important. And I also like the fact, which is the truth, that people have different styles. So you have to understand this person. You can even ask them, like, what kind of feedback do you want? Do you like direct feedback, or do you like encouraging feedback? Do you want me to say something is wrong when I think something is wrong? And then if you make this agreement with the person before, then it will be more comfortable. So you don't have to figure things out on the way.
There comes something to my mind, because this is a kind of technical issue. And if we then again go over the different temperaments with the same technicality, then we are wrong again. Because as a salesman, I can direct you and say, do you want open feedback, or do you want me to just give you soft feedback? Then you will say open, but you don't mean it. It's like in Toastmasters, I realized that everybody says, give me harsh feedback. I need it. They don't want it in reality. In reality, they just say, tell me what I have done good.
Also, the term harsh reality can be different from person to person. So.
Exactly. So I saw a very good example once. Somebody said, trust is like a piece of paper. When you lose trust, it's like you crumble a piece of paper, and it doesn't matter whatever you do now, you can iron it, it will never be the same again.
Or it's like breaking a vase. You can put the pieces together, but it won't look the same. Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. And the final point, let me get back to my notes here.
Empower. Conviction.
By strong conviction, establish beliefs and guidance as to how, by what behavior they should treat friends and critics. Anything you want to share to elaborate on this? Strong conviction.
A leader who doesn't believe in where they go will not have any followers. Nobody will walk with somebody who doesn't know where they go. Or they just take a walk. Well, maybe we go a walk together for a couple of steps, but then everybody will go his own way.
There's a nice quote from the book of the author of Alice in the Wonderland, Lewis Carroll, which is a pseudonym. It says, if you don't know where to go, where you're going, it doesn't matter which way you go. So
exactly, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, so we need strong convictions, and you can see we often call them charismatic leaders, because they want to go somewhere. They have an aura when they come somewhere, everybody sees this person because they have a strong conviction. They want to go somewhere. They have a power. They bring along. You can't play that.
Yeah.
You bring it. You have it. You have it or you don't. So if you don't have it, you have to find your purpose. Like Simon Sinek says, start with why. Why we are here. Why am I here? And then the how. And so.
Yeah. Well, in this topic, I feel like we can speak for hours, but also to wrap things up and put them into context. These were my general questions, but I want to ask a final question by asking, for people to understand more about these topics, to research further, what kind of resources you could recommend? It could be books, people, channels, trainings, or all of them combined.
All of them. All of them. Have a mentor.
Into a certain direction, at least in the beginning?
So since I got interested in development, business, that was around when I was, I guess, ever. But it was particularly interesting for me when I was 17 to start my own business. And they didn't let me yet because I was not 18 at the time. So I really waited for the number one day where I can start my own business. And then that brought me to many things. And what I had in the beginning, I was so happy. I had one mentor, one coach, one friend who helped me in my first business. It was a kind of networking business, so they always have uplines and whatever. So, and that was a real coach. He was interested in my success. So I was every Saturday with him, and whole Saturday I tweaked him and asked him, and he was a real nice teacher because he took his time. He never said, you don't bring enough to spend so much time for you. And I surely didn't in the beginning. But he put into me a lot of knowledge. He put books in my face, tapes at the time, CDs later, now MP or YouTube. You can find them on the internet today, all this stuff. At the time, we had to buy them, and it was very expensive for me at the time. You know? And I had a mentor, but one mentor is not enough. I mean, I love John Maxwell for leadership subjects, and I study every day a little bit on his stuff. And what we did today is pretty much a Maxwell stuff. You know? But also other people. You can go to Anthony Robbins. You can go to John, what is his name, Rohn, and all kinds of people. There are so many out there. Find what who you resonate with. And one mentor is not enough. One coach is not enough. Talk to people, and they don't have to be paid coaches. We speak about a lot of coaches. I believe a good friend is a good coach, because what you can really share with each other. We too, we never ask for money to each other, right? So but we coach each other. You coach me in this nomadic life of way of life, and you ask me sometimes some questions which I find very nice. So we teach each other. Yeah. And seminars, books, of course, regularly. Every day in the morning, I get up at 5 when the sun is rising, in winter earlier. And I have a couple of things to do every day to grow myself. Because if I want that my organization is growing, the people in my organization should grow, then I should grow first.
It's impossible to grow your organization without growing yourself.
I believe so.
Wow.
So I do every day something. I go to seminars at least once a year. And that can be in the States, or it can be different, can be online nowadays. There are so many very good, there's so much good content online. You can buy them. You can, I believe some leadership, I'm sorry, I have to do something. Yeah. Some organizations, I don't know if you're a believer, maybe your church is one place. If you're a non-believer, you have other communities, philosophical communities. I'm in Rotary, I'm a Rotarian. This is business people who do good in this world. And then you have to find where you resonate and where you can stretch. I'm in 3 organizations where I know all of these people are much further than me. But this is an environment where I, one, feel very bad when I go home. How good are they and how stupid am I? How far did they go in life and how simply did nothing achieve compared to them, myself? So this is one outcome. But the other outcome is I learned from them. How did they do it? They are normal people, but they are a step further. What is the clue? What can I learn from them? And this is a kind of mentoring without them knowing that they mentor me.
Like we're doing with each other. Well, this was an amazing conversation, and we can speak much longer, but probably we will do some other meetings like this to
Let's repeat this. I love it. And next time I ask the question, you answer.
Sure, anytime. And do you have anything else that you would like to add or say before we wrap this up, Mr. Vetr?
Yeah, I would say to the people who listen to this, thank you very much and congratulations, because you took time. You don't know me. You maybe know Perchin. You don't know what's coming here, but you are open-minded. You listen. And this is what we speak here is not like this is the right way, the only right way. It's like a shelf in a supermarket. There are many things and you don't buy everything. Just pick out what you like and try to use it. And if it works for you, keep going. If it doesn't work, try something else. You are not locked into what we said.
Exactly. It's all about trying and making a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vetr. I'm looking forward to other chats as well, and I'm sure people have benefited from this a lot, because I sure have. So thank you, and I'll see you in another talk.
And I did as well. See you in another talk. Thank you for the listeners. All the best to you.
Take care. Bye-bye.